I'm an Indian, and today is Republic Day, a day that signifies our real freedom from the British and freedom to many things, including freedom to embrace values like free speech and self governance. Today is a powerful symbol of my present identity and my future aspirations. Who am I? I'll come to that some other day because I don't yet have an answer. What I do know, however, is that I'm in constant pursuit of the answer to that question afforded to me by the fact that I do not have to struggle for my basic necessities. I'm going to be talking about my understanding of Western and Eastern perspectives on why I like to read. At one time, several books, usually ones that are written by people with opposing perspectives. Presently, I've been reading the very lofty Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, listening to discourses by Swami Ranganathanand and reading Dr. Ambedkar and Jyotirao Phule's works. Simultaneously, I have this wonderful Marathi teacher who's patiently helping me understand Shivaji Sawant's book Mrityunjay in Marathi. It is an autobiography of Karna and paints a tremendously complex picture of so many Mahabharat characters that are otherwise shown as black and white. But as we all know, they are all but simple. I often ask myself what makes me Indian, and the answer is it's a feeling. I feel Indian. Part of who I am is someone who was born surrounded by diversity and contrast. I grew up listening to songs like Mile Sur Mera Tumhara To Sur Bane Hamara. So of course, being Indian fosters in me a desire to understand differing viewpoints, not to prove I'm right, but to discover what I might be missing. This curiosity aligns with three Western psychological concepts and a few lines that I read in the Upanishads. The first is that of cognitive flexibility, the antithesis or the opposite of which is cognitive rigidity. Now, cognitive rigidity is being like a younger version of me. That me was too attached to a certain point of view and showed visible physiological distress to even listening to anything contrary. That young me, she had her facial muscles twitched, she held her breath and tightened her jaw, her face contorted into a living statue of skepticism. I think as immovable as the granite idols in Mahabalipuram. If someone, especially someone less educated or studied than her or me, presented to her or me a point of view that I thought or she thought was less evolved or incorrect. I remember that, Radhika. I remember that she could turn into a human exclamation mark by quoting experimental evidence where possible. But I think that person gave way to someone more mature with time, someone less rigid, someone who believes that love triumphs over proving that you know more or that you are superior in some way. Love gave way to humility somewhere. And I read a verse in the Upanishads that went something like this. Don't focus on my pronunciations. Try to understand the rationale behind why I remember this verse. And it goes something like this. Andhantama pravishanti ye avidyamupasate tato bhuya ivate tamoya uvidyayam ratah. What I understand from what this means is that into blinding darkness enter those who worship ignorance, which is avidya, and into even greater darkness enter those who delight in knowledge, that is vidya, knowledge without love or knowledge without insights. This is my interpretation, meaning both ignorance and knowledge by rote or knowledge by rigidity or knowledge without love is regressive. We all want to only be partial to that information that aligns with our existing or pre-existing beliefs, and this takes many forms like favoritism, inclinations, tendencies, one's bent of mind, non-objectivity in the case of scientists, and of course psychologists know that we call this confirmation bias. We have experimental and real evidence that being inflexible about one's beliefs, so much so that we cannot even sit across and have a conversation or a debate with someone who thinks differently from us, is harmful to society and of course our mental health. Diversity is very healthy and very beneficial to our entire species. Another psychological term used for this is groupthink, a term used by psychologist Irving Janis in 1972, where in groups that are like each other or that are homogeneous, the pressure to maintain harmony can suppress or stop you from expressing a different opinion than the popular one, meaning there is no individual dissent again, leading to even more rigid groupthink. So innovation, evolution, all of these things slow down in these societies. And the American psychologist Carol Dweck calls this the fixed mindset versus, what is now popularly known as the growth mindset. In this fixed manner, intelligence is seen as frozen. It stays the same, it's static, there is no growth, there are no challenges, and eventually there is a decay or an atrophy, or as said before, a regression. And I'd like to think that my foreparents, fathers and mothers and others who were freedom fighters and who wanted to see India free, to them and to me, to be Indian is to be in perpetual motion, constantly questioning, forever seeking. And I think our greatest liberty lies not in the answers we have found, but in the questions we have the freedom to ask. And so on this day, I don't just celebrate a nation, I celebrate a thought, an idea that is forever India and to me, forever free. Cheers.